Hey, glad you can make it, because today we are playing more Age of Engineering, and we're going to get a tour. That's why I'm standing in front of the mining portal. Now I'm going to walk to the mining portal, I'm going to hit shift, and we're going to go to a place that looks a lot different than it did last time we were here. Boom. There's no bees. All the bees are gone. There's just a big mining hole, a wall over there that Delcar made, and then that. The pretty towers. Hi, Delcar.
Hello, my friend, and welcome. I promise you won't get stung if you stay in the designated areas. All right. Finally cleared out that big empty field. Now, even though Age of Engineering does not have all the different machines, I've still have a habit of building a huge stockpile of drones, queens, princesses, honeycombs, and then once I get a handle on that or just get a good surplus, that's when I start getting organized, which is the whole point to the tower setup. We're going to start from the top.
All right. Oh, and just ignore that little patch of jungle over there that didn't do nearly what we expected it to do.
We will never speak of that again. The towers are specifically designed to where I can fit 16 apiaries, where each of these 4 quads is one sort of bee, and they can only feed each internally to each quad. So whatever these 4 breeds of bees here, these nobles, for example, they're breeding out those meadows. Pay no attention to that. Because I've got the extra drones here, this was a meadows princess that I'm turning into a noble here, instead of doing it where I should, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
So these 4 will stay noble for the entire, until I shut them down, tear them out, or what have you. These 4 are forest, just to get me some bulk honey. These 4 are empty, because I'm still doing some breeding. These 4 are imperial and will stay as such. All the combs and surplus drones will end up here in this chest as a buffer. Phoenix had to help me rewire the pipes so they weren't crossing.
All right.
And I'm just making it active without signal. The buffer feeds down. Drones will feed into the analyzer. Honeycombs, which are currently, will feed into the centrifuge.
Okay.
Yet another buffer chest. This one gets inputs of any direct, like the sugar from particular bees, any of the direct product that doesn't need processing.
Right.
If it doesn't share, will hit the chest and then get pulled out as appropriate. Down here, these are pre-configured squeezers to get the honey drops, so I get liquid honey, which is the big pipe I've been ignoring till now.
Right.
It pipes honey up to the analyzer, so the drones and it's just going to be drones. The princesses should self-feed back into the apiaries. The drones that once they're identified, they need to be identified by the honey. We need the honey up there. It also continues downward into the main courtyard. Honey comes into the fluid tank. I can also switch it and pump honey out of the fluid tank if the squeezers aren't keeping the analyzer supplied. And that pump also feeds the fermenter that you mentioned last episode.
Okay.
The fermenter, right now I'm manually feeding it with the storage crate here. I'm manually feeding it the honeydew and the mulch it requires to make the short mead. And the short mead goes into the carpenter, making the mutating frames, because now that I have imperial bees, I have access to royal jelly. Mutating frames mean I can speed up the rate of mutation and control it a little better. The other machine set up here is the fluid tank of seed oil, which feeds into yet another carpenter, which I manually, again, I can automate it later. I manually throw logs in, so the assembler can make my impregnated frames, which feed to the yellow, brown, yellow ender chest, which right now by hand, I go to its counterpart on top of the towers, singular right now, and I can throw frames in all the apiaries. The tower is also big enough that I can set up 4 alvearies in place of the 16 apiaries, if I just want consistent, and then I can automate the piping of the frames.
Okay. And
now over here,
once again excited about the mead. Still need a pub.
We'll put a little pub out in this, probably in that little jungle patch. All right, so this row of bee houses is where the hand breeding goes. Because they don't automatically feed back to themselves, I find it the most useful to do to just whip out my hand analyzer and go, okay, does this have the traits I'm trying to continue forward? Yes. The back row is when breeds are fairly stabilized. They have the same setup, and because we don't have any of the apiarist pipes, buildcraft pipes, or anything, it might be a good time to show here. Go ahead and right-click on one of the conduit connectors.
Okay.
Without needing all the fancy filters, without needing the specialized B filter that is available in Ender.io, this is my favorite and easiest setup. I've set them to in-out mode. I've got their insert set to priority 5. I've got their extract on the same channel, obviously. Set to active without signal. You can set it to always active, what have you. But most importantly, self-feed enabled. Because it's self-feed enabled and the insert is priority 5, when the queen dies and the drones and the princesses pop into the apiary, the first thing it does is stick them right back into its own apiary. So you don't need to have the little L loop you would with the other piping systems. You can do this with one piece of conduit all by itself, walk away.
Nice. Like it. Deccan says, I thought bee houses didn't do crossbreeding with mutations.
They do mutate traits. Like what I'm using the bee houses for, you see here, breeding ×4 hardened for obsidian / steadfast. That's a note for me. I'm trying to get this Meadows princess, I'm turning her into a 4 times fertility because these particular hardened drones have 4 times fertility.
Mutating traits but not species. That's clever, says Deccan.
Yes. But I've seen it do it. It's just, I mean, like here, okay, all of them came out as hardened, but the queen stayed a Meadows, as expected. I've seen them split, and I'm checking them just, like over here, check this out. This, right before last. I have 2 different kinds of drones from one queen.
Okay, so it looks like it's still doing some
It's much lower.
Mutation. Okay.
It's much lower if it's occurring at all. And I don't know whether I threw a dirty / common hybrid in there, and then it just did the natural math of, well, this one's dirty, this one's common.
Right. So what does it take to get to the silky combs? Are we there yet?
We are, sort of, but we're not here. That's the reason there's a jungle patch.
Yeah, because that's what's going to excite you, because you can actually add the apiarist stuff directly to your armor and not get stung.
Yeah, so we have this nice green jungle patch with all that hard work on the terraformer, despite me saying not going to speak of it again. Yes, I was able to change a patch to jungle. It does, however, not change the humidity or the temperature.
Right. Yeah.
Forestry has its own mechanism for that. It has its greenhouse.
And no, Deccan, Age of Engineering does not have Gendustry. The Direwolf 20 series on it, he added Gendustry to the pack.
For greenhouse, the forestry greenhouse requires camouflaged paneling, which we can make. we can totally make with sawdust, wood pulp, and a bunch of different dye. I could make a greenhouse, I could slap it out here and use that to control temperature and humidity.
Okay.
Shut up. Sorry.
So that is the update on the bees? Or is
Yes.
there anything else you wanted to say?
I think it's pretty obvious to the viewers. We're going to do 3 more towers. The storage may or may not stay in. I may make the 4th tower into pure storage. And if you look at the spacing of this, it is set up so instead of being 4 corner towers, this is exactly 9 blocks apart. I could have it ringed with those same towers, and then it'll just be a giant cube. But it's extremely modular. I can keep growing, and each tower can be self-sufficient. Instead of piping everything into the central courtyard, I could theoretically pipe it into our base storage. I could use fluid tanks. I can use Ender. Going forward, it's going to be a very easy transition.
And just in case you're wondering, because I was wondering, Delcar does say that it's still, in this version of the mining dimension, it does actually turn night here every once in a while, and skeletons will show up. So that's the reason for the razor wire.
Yeah, I didn't finish the wall. Captain ADD strikes again. I didn't finish the wall, and I don't have it torched worth a darn out here. The towers, I keep getting skeletons spawning in. Spiders have been dropping on my head. You know, no big deal. But I have my ways to deal with that.
Right.
The mining dimension, obviously, is daylight most of the time, so it makes it perfect for 24/7 bee breeding.
Right. This is a really big mine. And what y'all may not know is that there's a lot of mining that's been done underneath these layers. So just the size of the hole doesn't even show you how much has been mined out of this place.
Can you show them on your mini-map?
Possibly. Let me see if I can...
Yeah, caves, then you adjust the vertical chunks.
You can see all the branches and all kinds of craziness. It has been an extensive mining operation.
Basically, if we were
Pirate.
coal miners, we would have collapsed the mountain by now.
Alright. I'm hitting J. Where's... Show caves. I'm trying to show caves. It's not showing caves. Am I not low enough? I'm probably not low enough.
You may need to turn daylight off.
There we go. Cave layers. Finally showed. And then how do I choose which layer is showing?
Vertical chunks.
A slide bar should appear.
Why am I not seeing this? Because I'm just blind. But yeah. So, let's see.
Yeah, check out vertical chunk 0.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of mining that's been done down there. Even vertical chunk 1. I mean, look at that. Huge amount of space.
Thank God we do not have real gravity.
Yeah. This whole place would have collapsed on itself. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. So, between 0 and 1, we have done quite the mining. Yasmin says, terra firmacraft? No, thank you. No, no. No, thank you.
Serious Remnant says real gravity. I've been killed by a block of falling leaves.
I know you've told me that before, but it's still funny every time I hear it.
My headcanon is that it was a heavy branch. We just didn't render.
Hey, we must make it as realistic as possible, so it must have gravity. But then we're going to kill you with leaves.
Oh, when you have 4 hearts, anything can kill you. Creeper. Serious Creeper, if you ever watch this, there will be a reckoning.
All right, so yeah, I think that is going to be it for this particular episode. It's a little bit shorter than normal, but I just wanted to get the bee update from Delcar so y'all could see all the hard work that he's been putting in over on this side. 'Cause I show
You're
everybody
very
else's
kind.
off work, but really wanted to show off his this time. So
No, you're very kind. Now, I am stubborn and I don't claim to be a bee expert, but chipping away at it, the crossbreeds, everything, it's all in JEI. It's very easy to follow, but using the forestry mechanics only and not the bee machines. These apiarist chests over here, they're all full and they're only kind of sort of sorted. So with your last episode innovation of an RF tool scanner, I may make my own over here.
yeah, that would be very useful for you, actually. So
And didn't you say at some point you may do a tutorial style video yourself, Delco?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I intend, Deccan and a couple others had asked about this design and this build. I intend to film the construction of a tower, the setup of the machines, and a walkthrough of how I'm doing my hand breeding and everything here.
very cool. That will come in quite the handy.
Since Saf's been wanting to learn it himself and hasn't, we pull him in 37 directions every time we stream, so we keep progress. So we keep progress on camera.
Right. Yeah, since I don't let them do too much progress off camera, except for like, upgrading of machines or something, they're like, Zaf, you must show this off on camera so we can do more of it off camera. I'm like, okay. So, so I've been doing a little bit better about the pacing and stuff, Deccan, because I've been kind of concentrating on things by using this notes program to handle all the to-do, which has been quite the tool. I've been enjoying that.
Yeah, mad props to the mod creator on that. I also find it terribly useful. And
yeah, I was using one called To-Do List, but basically you had to hit like 5 buttons just to, or it took like 5 clicks to have a single to-do item, and it just wasn't as useful as just a plain old text list on the right. And the fact that I can, have multiple ones that are very easily editable, it makes me very happy. Because I can hit Void R Miner, pin that, and boom, keep track of all the things I need for that without having to hold the book open all the time. Because y'all have seen me just constantly switch back and forth between books and recipes and things like that. So this is very useful for that also. That way I don't have to keep switching between everything. And I just unpin it and boom, I'm done. So that's probably one of my favorite recent find mods that is not a content mod. Just basic, client-side utility mod. It's one of my favorites now. Other than JEI, because it is the ultimate client-side utility mod. Always will be. Why is there just a random bee house right here above the stairs? Is that just for looks?
yep, that's a decoration. That's to show this is the bee fort.
So I thought. I always thought it looked a little bit like a lamp.
Yeah. I was playing. I originally was going to throw a lamp on here, but I went, lighting isn't generally a problem, so.
I'm curious, does Silk Touch work on bee hives in the world?
I've never tried.
Because if it does, those produce light.
And deadly, deadly bees.
Nope, does not.
All right, well, we'll take those drones and that princess. You'll notice you'll end up having to go farther and farther afield looking for hives out here. When the drop rate is like 3-to-1 ignoble to pristine, and I don't even bother with the ignobles. I just stash them.
Oh, I would not doubt if that would have killed me, Yasmin, if it wasn't for the armor I'm wearing. The armor actually does help you when you're attacking the bees. So
I intend to start making some apiarists gear that we can all stick on our armor at some point.
yeah, that's why I was asking about the silky wisps earlier. So that way we can all just.
I've
come
got
up.
only a couple. If you'll notice in this, you'll notice the misplaced drawer. I've got a couple right
Look,
here.
Here's your princess. It's the only one that came out of that one.
Groovy.
Unless you got the
All right, I'm
wrong-
going to hit the jungle.
Oh, you're gonna hit the jungle?
Yeah, I got to recycle the bee houses there. See if they've
Okay.
got any more silky combs for us.
I'm at the jungle. Now what? All right, before
Yeah,
the
keep
recording.
rubbing it in.
No, it's irritating. It's quite irritating that we got something to change the biome and it didn't actually change the biome. Oh, and are you going there a different way?
Hmm?
You're going to the actual jungle, right?
Yes.
Are you using the mining dimension? Oh, okay, you came in here. Because the mining dimension is actually a travel method too. It's just not a 8-to-1 travel method. I don't think. I don't know. Is it a 1-to-1? That might be a good experiment. 2-to-1. So it could be a travel method, just not as useful as 8-to-1. I could
Yeah, but
see a whole bunch of
could do a-
railroads.
Yeah, we could do a straight shot in the mining dimension, though, probably.
Yeah. And mine carts would be wonderful on a flat surface like that. Okay, that's it. Somebody's got to do a railway system. In the mining dimension.
Working on it.
And that was the extreme vector plate pathway there. Which I guess could also work in the mining dimension, but that might take a lot of plates.
We got nothing.
But here's the jungle and some bee houses. Is it actually... Sometimes the chunk loading doesn't work properly in this, but no, it looks like it's still chunk loaded.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't progress much, but
Yeah, we actually have a real jungle also. That is another thing that I'm quite happy about. I was playing the FTB Revelation, and it has the fence jumper mod, and that was just really cool, being able to just jump over the fences. I mean, I can now because of the Dark Steel armor, but just being able to do so from early game, it's nice. Alright, well that's enough about that pack. Y'all get to see that playthrough actually in about 2 hours. Now I'm being smoked. So, thanks in advance for the thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. I've been Saf.
I'm still Delcar.
And I've been Phoenix.
And you've been...
Done.
be updated, or trying to think of some pun for it, and my brain just sucks, so yeah.
You've been pollinated.